Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB CBS Daily Update channel. So, is the legacy of the Forrester family finally starting to crumble because of a new obsession with the Logans, or is Taylor Hayes back just in time to give everyone the reality check they've needed for about 30 years? Think about what we just saw. Was Brooke's move for that co-CEO chair actually a smart business decision, or was it just the first shot fired in a brand new, way more dangerous civil war? You really have to wonder if this was all just one big misunderstanding or something much deeper and more calculated. We're going to look at why the return of Taylor Hayes might be the only thing standing between Steffy Forrester and total professional ruin. We've seen some pretty wild moves at Forrester Creations over the years, but what Brooke Logan just did is on another level of bold. Encouraged by Hope, who's feeling pretty desperate lately, Brooke didn't just ask for a seat at the table. She basically walked in and demanded Steffy's seat. Let's be real for a second. This wasn't about synergy or what's best for the company. It was a surgical strike aimed right at Steffy's heart. And why now? Well, because Hope's fashion line, Hope for the Future, got sidelined to make room for Eric's couture legacy. Hope couldn't handle being told no, so she ran to her mom to fix it. If you analyze why this is happening now, it's pretty clear the power balance at Forrester has always been a house of cards. It's held together by Ridge and his famous inability to make a firm decision. Brooke sensed a moment of weakness, and Hope, who is stinging from professional rejection, gave her all the ammunition she needed. It's a classic Logan move, right? When your own work isn't enough to get what you want, you just manipulate the guy at the top to change the rules of the whole game. Brooke is operating from this place of destiny delusion. She really believes her place is right beside Ridge, no matter who gets crushed in the process. But why act this way? Brooke isn't just doing this for herself. She sees herself as the great protector of the Logan family. By taking that co-CEO title, she isn't just getting a bigger office. She's making sure Hope never has to hear the word no ever again. It's this toxic cycle of enabling that we've been watching for years. Honestly, Brooke is probably terrified deep down. She sees Steffy, the next generation, cementing a legacy that doesn't really have a starring role for the Logans anymore. That fear of becoming irrelevant is what's driving her to use her relationship as a boardroom tactic. It's a desperate attempt to prove she still has that same power she used back in the 90s. I see this as coup 2.0. This isn't a new story, it's just a darker, more polished version of the time Brooke used a patent to blackmail her way into owning 51% of the company. She's trying to frame this hostile takeover as a comforting image of a husband and wife working together. But let's call it what it is, gaslighting at an executive level. In my opinion, this is about as low as Brooke has stooped in a long time. Targeting your husband's daughter, who is actually doing a great job, just because your own daughter's line is failing is just wrong. You don't build a legacy by tearing down your stepchildren. It's pure narcissistic projection. Brooke can't handle the idea that Steffy might be the real queen of Forrester, so she projects her own ambition onto Ridge, making him feel like he needs her there. It's all about control. Brooke has never been able to handle a world where she isn't the sun that everyone else has to orbit. The funny thing is the irony in all of this. Hope calling Steffy a Nepo daughter is just hilarious. The irony is thick enough to choke on. Hope Logan was literally handed her own fashion line by her Aunt Katie, yet she's calling Steffy, who has worked her way up and dealt with more tragedies than anyone should have to, a Nepo baby. It's a classic deflection tactic. If Hope can convince herself that Steffy doesn't deserve her spot, then she doesn't have to feel like a failure just because her line was shelved. Hope is clearly drowning in professional jealousy. She sees Steffy with the stable marriage, the career, and the respect of her grandfather, and it hurts. She's lashing out because her perfect world is starting to crack. Hope is becoming the very person she used to say she hated. She's not just Hope anymore, she's Brooke's apprentice. She's learning how to use Ridge as a tool to get her way. I have to agree with Steffy's reaction here. When she laughed in Hope's face, it wasn't just being petty. It was a serious reality check. Hope needs to understand that the whole world doesn't revolve around her line. Sometimes, a company has to focus on actual couture, not just message fashion. This is envy-driven sabotage, plain and simple. Hope can't be at the top right now, so she wants to make sure Steffy isn't either. It's that if I can't win, nobody can mentality that we've seen ruin so many families. Then we have to talk about Steffy's plea to Ridge. That was one of the most raw moments we've seen in years. She literally begged him to choose his daughter over Brooke for once. Why did she go so hard on the emotional appeal? Because she's been here 100 times before. She spent her entire life watching her father waffle between her mother and Brooke. For Steffy, this wasn't just about a job title. It was about whether her father would finally, just once, put his biological daughter ahead of his wife's ego. Under that Ice Queen CEO exterior, Steffy is still just that little girl who watched her family get torn apart by the Logans. Every time Ridge even considers one of Brooke's demands, it opens up those old scars all over again. She feels betrayed on a fundamental level. She's fighting for the soul of the Forrester name. She knows that if Brooke gets in, the company just becomes a Logan-centric circus again. She's acting as the guardian of what Eric and Stephanie built, trying to stop history from repeating itself in the worst possible way. I'm 100% on Steffi's side here. Ridge really needed to hear that he's been a waffle his whole life. He needed to be told that choosing his wife over his daughter is a pattern of neglect. Steffy isn't just being difficult, she's being a leader who knows what her work is worth. This is a classic case of attachment trauma. Her aggressive defense of her job is her way of protecting her relationship with her father. If she loses that chair, she feels like she loses her connection to Ridge and the Forrester name. It's a fight for her own survival. And then, the nuclear option happens. Taylor Hayes is back. And believe me, she is not here to play nice. Why is she returning now? Because she is a mother first and a psychiatrist second. Hearing that Brooke is trying to replace Steffy is the ultimate trigger for Taylor. She knows better than anyone what kind of psychological toll Brooke's destiny games play on her kids. Taylor is probably feeling a mix of pure rage and a sense of "I told you so." She's watched Brooke do this for 30 years. There is this deep, simmering resentment that Ridge still lets himself be manipulated by Brooke's bedroom tactics. Taylor is coming back as the superego of the show. While Ridge is the ID, all impulse and waffling, Taylor is here to enforce the boundaries that have been missing for way too long. She's the only one who can really call Brooke out on her psychological games because she actually understands the why behind them. It is about time. Taylor needs to go full mama bear. For way too long, Steffy has had to fight these battles all by herself while Taylor was off in Paris or doing missionary work. Taylor's return isn't just a quick cameo, it's a massive shift in the power dynamic of the entire show. This is an act of reparative parenting. Taylor knows she hasn't always been there for Steffy. She was presumed dead twice, after all. So she's overcompensating now by becoming Steffy's fiercest advocate. She is determined to stop Brooke from gaslighting her daughter ever again. To really get why this is so triggering for the Forresters, we have to look at the history Brooke is repeating. Back in 1993, Brooke didn't just want a job. She wanted to own the whole thing. She used that patent to strip Stephanie of her authority and even hired Sheila Carter to physically kick Stephanie out of her own office. This isn't just business for the Forresters. It's a traumatic reminder of a time they were completely humiliated. For the older generation, like Eric, this brings back memories of Brooke's bedroom, a line that went against everything the company stood for. There's a real fear that if Brooke gets power again, she'll just turn Forrester Creations into a Logan marketing machine. Brooke is trying to rewrite history here. She's trying to act like she's the new Stephanie, the matriarch behind the man. But Steffi is right, Stephanie was the strength behind Eric, but she never tried to steal his title or push his kids out for her own gain. Brooke trying to compare herself to Stephanie is actually pretty offensive. Stephanie built that company from the ground up. Brooke used a patent and a lingerie line to bedroom her way to the top. They are not the same thing. This is a case of identity theft. Brooke is so obsessed with her destiny with Ridge that she is trying to occupy the literal space that Steffy left behind. It's a pathological need to be the center of the Forrester universe. And we can't ignore the man who lets all of this happen, Ridge Forrester. Why can't he just say no? Honestly, it seems like he's addicted to the conflict between the Logans and the Forresters. It must stroke his ego to have all these powerful women fighting over him. He says he hates the drama, but his actions show he loves being the prize in the middle. He's probably feeling overwhelmed and just mad about the whole thing. He doesn't want to hurt Brooke, but he knows that betraying Steffy would be the end of their relationship. He's paralyzed by his own lack of a backbone. Ridge is the enabler-in-chief. By even considering Brooke's request, he validated a coup attempt against his own daughter. He basically invited Brooke to keep pushing by not shutting it down the second she asked. Ridge is really the one at fault here. If he were a real CEO and a real father, he would have told Brooke that her request was totally unprofessional. Instead, he waffled and let the tension boil over until Taylor had to come back and fix his mess. This is avoidant personality behavior at its peak. Ridge avoids conflict until it becomes a total catastrophe, and then he acts surprised when the women in his life are at each other's throats. He's the arsonist who wonders why the house is on fire. As we head into the week of May 18th to 22nd, things are about to get so much worse. Ridge finally makes a decision. He chooses Steffy. But don't think for a second that's the end of it. This is just the beginning of the fallout. The fallout is going to be severe because Hope is now in a nothing left to lose mindset. Her line is dead, her mother's power play failed, and she is backed into a corner. A cornered Logan is a very dangerous Logan. We're going to see Hope demand answers from Steffy, and it's going to be explosive. Hope is feeling like her future is a total nightmare right now. She feels like the new sheriff, Steffy, is running her out of town. There's a sense of total defeat that's going to turn into a burning desire for revenge really fast. We are looking at a total company fracture. Zend is already frustrated. Katie and Bill are circling like vultures, waiting to poach Hope for Logan. This isn't just a feud anymore, it's the start of a corporate exodus that could leave Forrester Creations a ghost town. I think Hope should just leave. If she's so miserable and feels so unappreciated, then just go to Logan. Stop trying to dismantle Steffy's company and go build your own. But we know Hope won't do that quietly. She'll try to burn the whole bridge on her way out. I'm predicting a massive Logan exit by the end of May. Hope will finally take Bill and Katie's offer, but she won't go alone. She'll try to take Brooke and maybe even Zend with her to starve Forrester of its talent. And the biggest consequence? The war between Taylor and Brooke is going to reach 1990s levels of intensity. Now that Taylor is back, she's going to make it her mission to ensure Brooke never gets another inch of Forrester ground. With Rebecca Budig taking over the role, we're seeing a Taylor who is stronger and maybe a little less saintly than before. Why is that important? Because the old Taylor was sometimes too perfect, which made her a bit of a doormat for Brooke and Ridge. This Taylor has misplaced her marbles in the best way possible. She's ready to fight dirty. Taylor is no longer looking for Ridge's approval. She's looking for justice for Steffy. There's a liberation in that. She doesn't have to be the good doctor anymore, she can be the woman who protects her family at any cost. This Taylor is the antidote to Brooke. Brooke uses sex and manipulation, Taylor uses psychological warfare and mama bear grit. It's a clash of titans like we haven't seen in years. I love this version of Taylor. She's riveting. She's not just sitting around waiting for a man, she's taking a stand for her daughter's career. That is the Taylor Hayes the fans have been asking for. This is post-traumatic growth. After everything Taylor has been through, the shootings, the deaths, the heartbreaks, she has finally integrated her dark side. She is a more complete, and therefore more dangerous, opponent for the Logans. The battle for the CEO chair wasn't just about a title. It was about legacy, territory, and the ultimate validation of a father's love. Brooke tried to replace Steffy, but all she did was wake up the sleeping giant, Taylor Hayes. As we watch Hope's future at Forrester fall apart, we have to ask, was any of this actually worth it? Was a relaunch date for Hope for the future worth a family war that brought Taylor back to the front lines? Forrester Creations is tearing apart at the seams. Zend is at a breaking point. Hope is in limbo. And Ridge? Ridge is still just standing there, waffling while the women in his life prepare for a war that could end the company as we know it. So, who are you siding with in all this? Is Steffy right to protect the couture legacy, or is she just being petty by sidelining Hope's line? And are you Team Taylor or Team Brooke? Does Taylor have a right to confront Brooke, or is she totally overstepping since she doesn't even work at Forrester? I want to know your thoughts. Are you glad to see Taylor back, or do you think her return is just going to make the Bridge versus Tridge drama even more exhausting? If you're enjoying this deep dive into all the bold and the beautiful chaos, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss our breakdowns of the latest soap opera drama. We're here every week looking at the moves, the motives, and all the madness of the Forrester and Logan war. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one where we find out if Hope actually has the guts to leave Forrester or if she's just bluffing. It's going to be a wild ride, and you'll want to be right here for every second of it. See you next time. I siding with Steffy on protecting the couture legacy. Have you ever felt like your own family was ready to trade you in for a newer model just because someone else asked? Well, that is exactly the nightmare Steffy Forrester is living through right now at Forrester Creations. It makes you wonder, was Brooke's sudden demand for the co-CEO chair a legit move for the company, or was it just a cold-blooded attempt to erase Steffy's hard work? We are looking at a full-blown civil war here, and the timing couldn't be more suspicious. Why now? Why, after years of being a spokesmodel, does Brooke suddenly feel the need to run the whole show? Stick with me, because we are breaking down why Taylor Hayes is the only person who can stop this madness before the Forresters lose everything they've built. Let's be real for a second, Brooke Logan didn't just wake up one day and decide she was a corporate genius. This whole power play started because Hope Logan couldn't handle being told no. Think about it, Steffy made a business decision to put Hope for the future on the back burner to focus on Eric's couture legacy. Instead of taking the feedback like a professional, Hope ran straight to her mom and started whispering in her ear that it was time for a seismic shift at the top. Hope even called Steffy a Nepo daughter, which is honestly hilarious when you remember it was Hope's Aunt Katie who handed Hope her first line. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. The funny thing is, Brooke actually went for it. She didn't just ask Ridge for the job, she tried to seduce him into giving her Steffy's position. She told Ridge that having them run the company together would be a comforting image. Comforting for who, exactly? Certainly not for the daughter he'd be stabbing in the back. Brooke is operating from what I call destiny delusion. She really thinks her relationship with Ridge entitles her to whatever she wants in the boardroom. It's a toxic mix of ego and manipulation that we've seen from the Logans for decades. Why act this way? In my opinion, Brooke is terrified of becoming irrelevant as the next generation, led by Steffy, takes over the legacy. Now, when Ridge actually told Steffy about this request, she was absolutely blindsided. And can you blame her? She's been the one forging relationships with buyers, influencers, and vendors while Ridge is off in design land. She reminded him that without her, Bill Spencer probably would have bought the company out from under them years ago. She didn't just ask for respect, she demanded it as a co-CEO who has earned her keep. But the most heartbreaking part was when she had to beg her own father to finally choose his daughter over his wife for once. Think about that, a grown woman having to plead for her father's loyalty because his track record of choosing Brooke is so long and painful. This whole situation is like a dark reboot of the 1993 coup. For those who don't know the history, Brooke used a patent to blackmail her way into 51% ownership and then hired Sheila Carter to physically throw Stephanie Forrester out of her own office. When Steffi sees Brooke coming for her chair today, she isn't just being petty, she's remembering the trauma of what the Logans did to her grandmother. Brooke even tried to frame herself as the new Stephanie to Ridge, which is a total insult. Steffy was the strength behind Eric, but she never tried to steal his title or push his kids out of the family business for her own gain. I see this as a total case of identity theft on Brooke's part. She is so obsessed with being the center of the Forrester universe that she's trying to occupy the literal space that Steffy left behind. Psychologically, it's like she can't feel secure in her marriage to Ridge unless she also controls his professional life. It's a pathological need for dominance. And Ridge? Well, Ridge is doing what he does best, being a total waffle. He stands there while these women fight over him, looking meh and avoiding any real conflict until it turns into a catastrophe. He is the enabler-in-chief, and by even considering Brooke's request, he basically told his daughter that her hard work is negotiable if Brooke puts on some nice lingerie. But here comes the nuclear option: Taylor Hayes is back. And let me tell you, this is not the saintly Taylor who's going to just sit there and take it. This new version of Taylor, played by Rebecca Budig, seems to have misplaced some of her marbles in the best way possible. When she hears that Brooke is trying to push Steffy out, she is going to go into full mama bear mode. She knows exactly how Brooke operates, and she's not going to let her daughter be gaslighted into thinking this move is what's best for the company. Taylor's return is a massive shift in the power dynamic because she's the only one who can call Brooke out on her psychological games. I honestly love this for Steffy. She has been fighting these battles alone for way too long while Taylor was off doing missionary work or living in Paris. Having Taylor back to say enough is exactly what this storyline needs. Taylor isn't just looking for Ridge's approval anymore, she's looking for justice for her daughter. She knows the psychological toll that Brooke's destiny obsession has taken on Steffy and Thomas over the years. It's about time someone stood up and said that the Forrester legacy belongs to the Forresters, not to whoever Brooke is championing this week. The fallout from this is going to be massive. Ridge eventually does the right thing and rejects Brooke's pitch, choosing to stand by Steffy. But the damage is done. Hope is now in a total nightmare scenario where her line is stalled and her mother failed to pull off the coup. She's cornered, and a cornered Logan is a very dangerous thing. We are already seeing Katie and Bill circling like sharks, trying to lure Hope over to Logan where she can be appreciated. Bill is even telling her there's a new sheriff in town and she should leave that dusty old-fashioned house behind. In my opinion, Hope should just go. If she's so miserable and feels so sidelined, then go build your own empire at Logan. But we know she won't go quietly. She's going to demand answers from Steffy, and things are going to get explosive. And let's not forget Zend, who is absolutely furious that his designs are sitting on a shelf while the company focuses on Eric's couture. Steffy might have won this round, but she's looking at a total company fracture. Zen might even follow Steffy if she ever decides to walk, or he might jump ship to Logan himself just to get his work seen. You have to ask yourself, was any of this worth it? Brooke and Hope tried to blow up the leadership of the company just to get a relaunch date for a fashion line that isn't even making that much money right now. They've brought Taylor Hayes back to the front lines, and she is ready for war. This isn't just about business anymore, it's about 30 years of resentment finally boiling over. Forrester Creations is tearing apart at the seams, and I honestly don't know if Ridge can fix it this time. So, I have to know, whose side are you on? Do you think Steffy is right to protect the couture legacy and her own seat, or do you think she's just being petty toward Hope? And how are we feeling about Taylor's return? Are you ready to see her finally take a stand against Brooke, or are you worried this is just going to be another round of the same old love triangle drama? I want to hear your theories in the comments. Is Hope actually going to leave for Logan, or is she just bluffing to get her way? If you are loving this deep dive into the absolute madness at Forrester, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and hit that notification bell. We are here every single week breaking down the motives, the moves, and the total soap opera chaos that only the Forresters and Logans can provide. This coup 2.0 is just getting started, and you do not want to miss what happens when Taylor and Brooke finally go head-to-head again. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one where we find out if Ridge can actually handle having both of his ex-wives in the same room without waffling into the next century. See you then.